name is Makonjola Oluwatosin Esther. Here are the major headlines. On our local news this morning, plea to government to seal fueling stations holding petroleum products. Buhari not like Sunday Abacha, Femi Adesina. On our political news this morning, Ogun PDP as no faction, says chairman. On our business news this morning, Oshibajo panel to meet NLC over subsidy removal transport palliative. On our sport news this morning, AFCON Arsenal star Aubameyang test positive for COVID-19. On our health news this morning, lockdown no longer necessary to contain COVID-19, says Africa CDC. On our foreign news this morning, France fines Google, Facebook millions over tackling consent. On entertainment news this morning, Davido acquires new house on Banana Island, Lagos. So full details coming up next. Plateau government to seal filling stations holding petroleum products. Plateau state government until Thursday warned that it would seal any filling stations holding petroleum products in the state. The state government gave the warning in a statement by the secretary to the state government, Danladi Atu in Jos. The government observed with great concern the activities of some filling stations holding petroleum products with a view to creating artificial scarcity, thereby causing untold hardship to commuters and other users of fuel commodities. According to the SSG, the Management Committee on Road Traffic Administration and Vehicle Inspectors has been mandated to ensure that the act is forestalled. Atu said the task force is equally directed to seal all any filling stations found to be holding the products, and action says none. Buhari not like Sani Abacha, says Femi Adesina. A presidential media advisor Femi Adesina has stated that President Muhammadu Buhari is not like the late head of state Sani Abacha in an article on Thursday. PNB and the futurologist, the spokesman, mocked the then military ruler for refusing to leave Aso Rock because he was scared of prophetic visions and predictions. Additional disclosed that a cleric told Buhari to send emissaries to him with bags of money so he could pray and stave off the tragedy. Noting that the president was busy with international travels on the period the prophet mentioned no accident or incident happened. That was what the Marabout did to Sani Abacha, that he remained old in Aso Rock. Between November 1993 and June 1998, that he was the head of state, you could not count both local and foreign trips he made on the fingers of one hand. Additional recalled that there was a time plenty of hype had been made on his visit to Oyo State. They commissioned the Ashejiri water scheme. The aide said the state was agog with expectations and a holiday had been declared, only for Abacha not to show up after being caged by the futurologist. At another time, he had been confirmed to visit Lagos to commission projects including the Marble Gardens in Alausa area of Ikeja. Visiting Lagos would have been good for Abacha himself. The city had been put on the lockdown. At the last minute, Abacha refused to show up. Caged again by the horizon scanners, who always see negative, never anything positive. It was said that in the few times the head of state ventured out of the fortress called Aso Rock, he would lock up all the service chiefs at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja until he returned the SREG. On our political news this morning, Ogun PDP has no faction, says chairman. The chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Ogun State, Sikiru Lai Ogundele, on Thursday said there is no faction anywhere in the state chapter of the party. Ogundele said the following the successful harmonization of all blocks of interest in the party since March 2021. Ogundele, while reacting to the move by another faction in the state, said the party had been enjoying a crisis-free, stable, and harmonious working relationship in the state. The new faction led by Sebiu Shobayo emerged on Wednesday in Abeokuta, the state capital. The faction at Ogun Senatorial District's stakeholders meeting held in Abeokuta, the state capital, declared Shobayo as the authentic chairman of the party in the state. The meeting, which was attended by some members of the Southwest Executive, including Zonal Treasurer Omotoyosi Ogushe, Zonal Ex-Official Benga Idu, Zonal Legal Advisor Barrister Mosuru Olakupoyi, and a governorship aspirant Honorable Shegun Showumi passed a vote of confidence in the national chairman of the party. Iyocha Ayu Agwogudele led PDP is recognized by the National Working Committee of the party. According to him, PDP is a political assemblage of experienced, rich, and disciplined minds that cannot afford to close its doors against anyone. Ogunele added that the state chapter of the party under my chairmanship has been discharging its duties as the main opposition party in the state, independently without any form of individual or group of people. As we look up to the next of rounds of political activities, I appeal to all well-meaning members of the public to rise in patriotic partnership with our party in the collective desire to rescue our dear Ogun State from the unpardonable maladministration as manifestly exhibited by the ruling APC government. On our business news this morning, Oshibajo panel to meet NLC over subsidy removal, transport palliative. Federal government says no going back on full deregulation. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says the federal government is determined to remove subsidy on premium motor spirit, commonly known as petrol. She also said the panel chaired by Vice President Yemi Oshibajo could meet with the Nigerian Labour Congress and other stakeholders to consider the proposed 5,000 naira transport palliative and other options aimed at ameliorating the effect of the planned subsidy removal on Nigerians. Responding to questions by journalists at the public presentation of the 2022 budget on Wednesday, Ahmed said the federal government was set to comply with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act 2021 to fully deregulate prices of petroleum products. She said the PRA 2021 has made a provision that indicates that all byproduct prices will be deregulated, and so far we have been able to deregulate kerosene prices and diesel prices. The only product that is still not deregulated is PMS, so we are planning to comply with the law because the PRA is an act of the National Assembly and a law that we all have a responsibility to abide by. On the proposed 5,000 naira transport grant, the minister said the initiative was still at the proposal stage, adding that it was being weighed alongside other proposals aimed at reducing the impact. She added that the government would implement any proposal with great practicability and wider benefits for the country's citizens. Ahmed, who pointed out that the committee was set up to explore various proposals, disclosed that the panel would resume deliberations after the New Year holiday to engage the NLC and accept its inputs. She said what we did in terms of providing support to citizens would be affected by the removal of the fuel subsidy is that. From the Ministry of Finance, we made a proposal to say that maybe we should provide a transport subsidy in the sum of 5,000 naira or any amount that would be later agreed on for between 20 million and 40 million people. There are several options that we are working on as people resume from their holidays. The committee's work will resume and be part of the work. We'll be engaged with the National Labour Congress and get input from Labour. On our sport news this morning, AFCON Arsenal star Aubameyang tests positive for COVID-19. Arsenal star Pierre-Emerick has tested positive for COVID-19. Gabon coach Patrice Neuville told AFP on Thursday, just days ahead of their opening African Cups of Nations match. Aubameyang teammate Mario Lemina and assistant coach Yala Anisset all tested positive after taking a lateral flow test, and we are awaiting the results from a PCR-1. They underwent a PCR test and are isolated in the hotel, said Neuville, adding they displayed no symptoms. Who was stripped of their Arsenal captaincy last month is at risk of missing Gabon's opening Group C match against Comoros on January 10 in the biennial African Showpiece tournament being hosted by Cameroon. They go on to play further matches against Ghana and Morocco. Gabon entered the finals on the back of a 3-0 defeat by Burkina Faso in a friendly match in Dubai last Sunday. On our health news this morning, lockdown no longer necessary to contain COVID-19, says Africa CDC. The Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention says severe lockdowns were no longer necessary to contain COVID-19. According to Africa's top public health agency, African countries battling the fourth wave of the COVID-19 infection fueled by the Omicron variant should adopt a new approach to tackle the ongoing pandemic. The director of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, John Nwakeson, said that while speaking at a conference on Thursday, Nwakeson praised South Africa for adopting a new approach in responding to its latest infection wave driven by the Omicron variant. We are very encouraged with what we saw in South Africa during this period where the look at the data in terms of severity of infections. The period where we are using severe lockdowns as a tool is over. We should actually be looking at how we use public health and social measures more carefully and in a balanced way as the vaccination increases. He said, recall that South Africa recorded a surge in COVID-19 cases from late November to early December, a period that coincides with the discovery of the Omicron variant and that was the first discovered in the nation. The spike in COVID-19 infections in South Africa peaked in mid-December, though cases have been since reduced. The director of the Africa CDC, however, warned that COVID-19 could become a pandemic infection with the slow pace of vaccination in the continent. He said unless by the end of the year the continent actually scales up its vaccination to about 70% or 80%, my worry is that we might be into a scenario where COVID becomes endemic. According to the latest figures from the Africa CDC, less than 10% of Africa's population has been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Many of the countries in Africa struggled throughout 2021 to access COVID-19 vaccines. True supply has since improved around the continent. On our foreign news this morning, France fines Google, Facebook millions over tackling consent. French regulators have fined Google and Facebook a total of more than 200 million euros for not making it as easy for users to option out of online tracking as it is for them to accept it. London French regulators on Thursday fined Google and Facebook a total of more than 200 million euros, regarding that is 226 million euros for not making it as easy for people to option out for online trafficking and it is for them to accept it. The CNRL data privacy watchdog said its investigations found that while the US online giant gave French users a single button to immediately accept cookies, there wasn't an equally simple way for them to decline because several clicks are required to refuse all cookies. Cookies are snippets of code used to target internet users for digital ads and other purposes. European governments have stricter regulations than the US that require websites to ask for permission before tracking a user's activity. That means people face pop-up menus that when they visit new websites, but there has been growing concern that many are configured to make it confusing or tedious if they don't want to give consent. Visitors to Facebook, Google's French homepage, and YouTube were being nudged to say yes, which meant they weren't freely giving their consent, a violation of French data protection laws, the CNIL said. The French watchdog slapped Google with a 150 billion euro, equals to $170 million penalty, and Facebook with a 60 million euro, equals to $68 million fine. It also threatens daily fines of 100,000 euros if they don't make it simpler for users in France to refuse cookies within 3 months. Facebook, which has been renamed Meta, said it's reviewing the decision and it's committed to working with authorities. Our cookie consent controls provide people with greater control over the data, including a new settings menu on Facebook and Instagram, where people can revisit and manage their decisions at any time. And we can continue to develop and improve these controls, the company said. Google said people trust us to respect their privacy and keep them safe. We understand our responsibility to protect that trust and we are committed to further changes and active work with the CNIL in light of the decision. On entertainment news this morning, Davido acquires new house in Banana Island, Lagos. Multiple award-winning artist David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, is currently in a cheerful mood as he officially opens his new house in the Banana Island area of Lagos. The excited singer took to his Twitter page on Thursday to share the good news, as he declared that the new year will be full of blessings. He tweeted, "I opened my new house today, 2022, all blessings, amen." Sharing the screenshots of his tweet on his Instagram page, the self-acclaimed Omo Baba Olowo, child of a rich man, revealed that the house was located at Banana Island. This comes barely after the Aye crooner gifted himself a brand new Lamborghini Aventador. The singer, who shared pictures of his newly acquired luxury car on December 10, 2021, stated that it was an early Christmas gift. "Christmas came early," he wrote on his Instagram stories. The singer also added that he would not buy more cars at the moment. He wrote, "I promise that was the last one, no more cars for a while." Fellow award-winning singer Damini Ogulu, popular as Burna Boy, also recently acquired a Lamborghini 2022 Novitec edition. And that'll be that on our breakfast news. Just stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Still on our breakfast news this morning. Highlights of the major headlines. Pledge government to seal filling stations ordering petroleum products. Buhari not like Sonny Abacha, says Femi Adesina. On our political news this morning regarding the Ogun PDP as no faction, says Chairman. On our business news this morning, Oshibajo panel to meet NLC over subsidy removal. Transport palliative. On our sport news this morning regarding AFCON, Arsenal star tests positive for COVID-19. On our health news this morning, lockdown no longer necessary to contain COVID-19, says Africa CDC. On our foreign news this morning, France fines Google, Facebook millions over tracking content. And lastly, on our entertainment news this morning, Davido acquires new house on Banana Island in Lagos State. And that will be that on our breakfast news. Thanks for watching. I want you to continue to subscribe on our YouTube channel, AYOGEN Online Television, and also follow us and like us on our Facebook page and Instagram page, likewise on AYOGEN Online Television. And that will be that for today. Do have a very wonderful weekend. Thank you.